stand tall. Words are blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited minds sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the sports in our arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena there's no chance to escape the vibrant lore. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the sports in our arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. In the ring we stand tall. Words are blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. In the ring we stand tall. Words are blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited mind sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by law. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by law. Dive in deep and search for more.
Spartans! What is your profession? Yes, Sparta!
What is going on, everybody? We're back at it with another stream, another live. You know where you're at. You're at Spartan SU Network. I'm your host, the Spartan, aka Peter. How is everybody doing tonight? We have a show, a great show. But I cannot do this by myself. I gotta bring my little helper. Of course, we're talking about Little Groot. Would you just fucking wake up and turn your goddamn camera
No,
on?
there's nothing little about me, period.
You sound like you're masturbating over there.
Now, that's what you want to believe.
You want some of this?
Him and his crazy Spartan dream and ideas. Hello, once again, this is TBN Tech Talk, aka Black David, aka Bear Porn, nothing little about
What'd you
me.
say about Spartans now?
Excuse me? Your Spartan reality, Spartan dream. No, I don't need no lotion, okay? I know I'm not doing that either.
Well, you have no choice.
I had a pretty long ass day, which is annoying as hell.
Well, stop looking in the mirror. Don't be as annoying.
Uh, I like the way I look because scale the idiot to me in Brooklyn, New
Mm.
York. If you're a pretty boy, you're a target for the Diddler Club. If you look like a punk, yeah, you're a target to get bullied. If you look like me, they know not to mess with you. So leave
That's
me the hell alone.
debatable, but anyway. So, David, how you doing tonight, my man?
Long day, long night is what it is.
True. All right, I have a question for you. Building
Shoot,
this last love, growth, and communication.
really? Are you trying to piss me off?
Well, yes.
You're getting there.
So I'm listening.
Building love lasts. This is 2025. To build something at this time, you might want to build it outside the country. That is my view on this. I don't see nothing being built here in this time where I'm seeing it. It's ridiculous. What dare to build in this world today without being betrayed or backstabbed or who knows what? That's one of my biggest issues because don't get me wrong. I used to be that person who believed in that when I was much, much younger. Correct. But as time progressed, you got to question yourself like, does it actually exist or is it worth it? Then when you start thinking that way, then you start doubting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, it's not a very easy or simple question to get into. Before you can think about anything called LOVEE. LOVE, you gotta ask yourself, who are you as a person? Who are you, what are you, and why are you you? What do you seek to acquire? Who do you seek to spend your life with? Um, how would I put this? What makes you interesting enough for someone to spend their life with you? What value do you bring into a relationship? What are you seeking to build? I don't think these are the questions a lot of people ask themselves. I ask myself these questions time and time again because I can ask myself, what is my agenda here? Why am I here? What is my purpose here? Because when you ask people what love really means, you get over 100 different definitions, which lets you know people have no clue the hell they're looking. I was watching a clip from MTR. Shout out to him. He talked about how Maya have lost her mind, which she had been lost her mind a long time ago. About she married herself. Really, really, really. And that is a odd question or odd idea to look into because first and foremost, what was the point where you say, quote unquote, I marry myself? Why is that? It never make any sense to me. It sounds weird. I understand if you want to love yourself, that's fine. But marrying yourself, like seriously, what sense does that make? So when I listened to the conversation about why she did such a thing, it brought up two things in my mind: fear and doubt. They seem like the same, but they're not the same. Why did she choose to marry herself? Or why did she have such idea that she could never find what she's looking for? These are things that I've been bugging myself as a guy. What did I want? What did I need? What did I look at love? What is it supposed to be to me? If I want to build something that long lasting, I gotta ask myself how far am I willing to go with it? What am I willing to do with it? Because I hate to say it, not too many people are built in such kind of relationship they want to get themselves into. Because this is something that I've been on panels, I've talked about this several times, about the relationship dynamic. So when we speak on love, it's based on what term I'm referring to. To me, I refer to the biblical definition of it. That's the more logical definition I can follow. That actually makes sense. But looking at today's society, I'll be honest with you, they don't agree to the biblical definition of it. They have their own idea what love is, and best believe it doesn't make no goddamn sense. Society's idea of love is more conditional than unconditional. I want to be very clear with you guys. If you're going to be in some kind of relationship, are you prepared to be in a relationship whereby the love you seek to achieve is based on condition? No, it could be one-sided based on who's playing that role. Are you willing to be in a relationship where the love does not exist? That if pretend, but the person is actually using you? Here's another idea. Since you want to think about relationship and seeking to get in kind of built for last, what happened taking advice from our elders who have been there before us and who have been there longer than us? Because this is something I've been on my head for quite a while. Like I'm looking at the generation of people who doggone stupid and retarded forsake the wisdom of the elder who have been married for what 20, 30, 40, 50 years to have a very long lasting marriage. And you want to tell them their idea of love does not exist or it's outdated or you have a better answer. But while you trying to figure out your way, you're no different from someone who throwing their hot dog down the hallway, pun intended. I'm just being honest because I spoke to a lot of elders during in my 20s concerning that word, LOVE, concerning building something that lasts, concerning building something that requires commitment and growth, right? And what they told me throughout my 20s scared the hell out of me. And I hate to say that they were correct and it was right on target. The consensus was my generation and those after me have no idea what it takes to make a relationship last. Either we are too hard at it, we are too stubborn, we are too ignorant to receive the truth, or we're too lazy to put in the work. That is something that's been driving me nuts. And I asked them why they would say such a thing. And these are from married couple who have been married for 20, 30, 40 years. And they could see it in their face. They enjoy each other's company. One of them mentioned that we will let technology destroy such a foundation. And it's safe to say they have been on the money. Because when I look at them who have been married 20, 30, 40 years, technology is not in their life to begin with. Even though they are already in the age of technology, but they're not jumping onto it. I remember one particular couple, she was saying they use technology as a tool, not something as part of their life. It's not meant to be incorporated in their life heavy. But looking at how we doing it, I can see why they're not a fan of it. A lot of these successful married couples, you will never find them on social media unless they feel maybe they got something to teach the younger generation. We did have one that came on the platform a couple of years ago. Older couple, older lady, but what do we do? Most of the people of my generation or further, with an older lady who will bring in her ideas concerning relationship, what it's all about. What we were saying? That's it. She's outdated. She don't know what you're talking about. That what she wanted to bring it is not needed here. It's not wanted here. Yada yada. I'm like, okay. If you want to know who I'm talking about security boss. She was out here trying to give us that knowledge, trying to give us that insight. What did we do? Or not me, but the master do. They will attack her, call her all sort of names, make it seem like her idea is non-existent, which is false. Subsequently, she did some shows whereby she helped people how to figure out how to find love, but based on practical fundamentals. She did create a couple of couples who find themselves and they end up getting married and they go on that journey. Later on, she left the US. And when she did such a thing, what I found it strange, I asked her the question to tell me why, and I get it. I'm like, you know what? Don't do that. Because I look back at her life and they've been married for almost 30 years. Strong couple, doing well, building together. Anybody who knows security boss know that her husband was always by her side, working behind the scene, running the camera, doing all the work for her and everything, while she's on the mic in the front. You see security boss, her husband there, but only very few people have seen him in person when they meet up. Anton Daniel, man, Black man on filter, very few other who have met with her. Very wide individual, gives solid insight, and she called out what she said today. If our generation and those behind her don't change, this idea of love you're looking for, you're not gonna find. So it's hard to talk about build something that lasts. My question, what I ask you guys, what are you willing to compromise? What are you willing to sacrifice? Because this argument between the sexes is not ending no time soon. Even though we have a new play in the game for Acrobat Podcast who's giving us the answer, which allows.
David, you still there? Or did I lose you? David? All right, guys. I'm pretty sure we lost David for a few minutes. Oh, hang on. Guess we lost him. You good now? Guess not. There you are. You're back. You're muted, bro. You're muted. You have no volume. All right. To David fixes his issues. Hey, look who's just jumped in. Hey, yeah, nice try, King. At least I'm not causing the King curse. I think you're passing on to me right now. But in a way, David is a lot of things right. Unfortunately, the way we're heading to is not the way love, growth, and communication is rare to have it in a built good relationship. Hey, Mariana, what's going on? So the old school communication is not there like it used to be, and it's yes, you are King. You're always a jinx. But the old school that me and David grew up with is not there anymore. The right as much me and Paul just did a show 2 weeks ago, I believe, on the gray area about divorces, and the rates are not as high as you think it is, but they're still pretty high overall. The question is it even worth dating anymore at this point? Some people don't even think it's worth it. Some people think it's better just staying as a couple and just living together. And I don't think that's the right route to go with. In the route, we need to go a different way. We're heading to a different time in this country. You go overseas, it's still the old school way: love, growth, and communication. And that is one thing we haven't seen here in a long time, I think. All right, David, you back with us yet? All right, you start having King Smith problems. So, all right, come back in and out. I think Restream is acting a little weird tonight because I got kicked out myself. So we need to analyze and break down what is it all these problems are. And I have a couple of theories. Nobody wants to put the work into a relationship anymore like they used to back in the day. Anytime you have any little issues, any little problems, you call it quits. And they shouldn't do that. You should not call it quits because you have a disagreement or argument or whatever. And that is part of the problem. Part of the problem is nobody wants to sit down and have a conversation, a civil, honest, to heart conversation. People hide a lot of things in a relationship, new stuff, old stuff, whatever. It doesn't matter. But people hide shit all the time. And we shouldn't. And all right, let's see if it work. All right, you working now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I don't know what happened. All I know, my headset got unplugged. I was like,
Dude, if you like when you were having your open monologue, you got kicked out. But before we go, before anything else, let's get this person in here. Let's get our witch doctor in here.
You call me a witch doctor? Seriously?
Yeah, why wouldn't I? Listen, everybody on this network has a nickname. He has Baby Groot. You have witch
bear
doctor.
paw.
Shut up. Shut up. Nobody asked your opinion, so I'm muted.
Audience saying bear paw.
You know what? That's what I thought. So your nickname is the witch doctor.
Where you come
Hey,
up with
why? What's
that?
going on, my man? So Mariana, we're talking about building to last, love, growth, and communication. Go ahead. What's your opening thoughts?
Um, those are very rare. To find that, it's not like I will say I know a couple individuals have that. Like those are like they're young. They're one in their 20s and the other one in early 30s. I will say my sister. He they know each other when, at the time they were friends. They were in middle school.
Hmm.
That's very rare. Very rare. And then middle school they dated in high school. And now, they're married, they have a child, they have, everything together. And then there's another one. I used to work with them at my old job. This girl happened to be her husband is a youth pastor, and their 20s, very very traditional, old school, um Hispanic roots, very old, old classic, like I don't know how to say it, like traditional, like there's some people go with tradition, like cultural, like this is, their parents taught you this is who you're gonna marry. You're gonna marry somebody that's a believer, that believes in God and everything. You're not gonna have somebody, whatever the case is. um but nowadays it's very hard to find that. It's very hard. Like how you could find it, some people don't even have common sense nowadays. Like you want to be, compatible, but you don't want to be toxic in the same
Hmm.
household, because that's something doesn't go well. You could be together in the same household and able to cooperate, who's going to pay the bills, who's going to help out with whatever, paying rent, paying electric, whatever the case is, but you have to compromise. But you don't want to have one that's more selfish. I want it this way, and then the other individual suffers. Doesn't work that way. So it's very frustrating. Now it's like it's so it's very rare now. Very rare. It's something like either either I don't know how to say it. Like, is it given to a point that God brings somebody to your life, either a blessing or a curse? I hate to say that. Somebody there for a reason, and then sometimes somebody you're wondering, is this person worth in my life? Sometimes you question. So sometimes it's always a lesson learned. You have to go through this, and I say, oh, this person is not worth my time. Then you have to go through those struggles.
Hmm.
So love, commitment, it's very rare. You have to you have like right now, a woman nowadays, they have to be, be humbled, not to be so, like bragging and nagging the man, because he can't do that. Like my sister's mother-in-law compliments her, say, you're not any type of woman. She say to my sister, like, say, you're not like any type of woman. You don't cause drama. You don't cause my son having headaches, because it's very rare. You work very hard. You work nonstop. Um, it's something that which is it's very rare. I mean, that's because you had to raise by principles, how you were taught. And now, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but the display of social media, how they act, which is a big mistrust. I hate to say it, there's some positives and there's some negatives. I'm not gonna say everybody, but it's very frustrating, because it's not like not like how it was. I know some people are still traditional, which is the best way, and in a respectful way. But you don't you don't need this toxic that toxic, to be with somebody like that. But to be love commitment, you have to have somebody, you guys on the same page, have respect for each other. But it's very rare, and the last thing you need, you have somebody is very selfish on one side, which is not something that somebody should go for. And that caused a lot of headache and a lot of um how you say, it's the mental and the physical anguish that you cannot put up. So uh yeah, it's not like it's a lot of deep thoughts about this, I will say, because it's very rare. You only see that in certain cultures and certain areas, but it's more like outside the country. And I do notice that more follow outside this country. They do follow tradition. They don't want to follow this crap. I hate to say it. And let's say if you marry somebody, say, I'm not gonna, I'm not dealing with that, because you don't want to follow that. That's why it's not
Maria, you
some.
like you just said, it's overseas is different. They still do the old routes. They
Yeah,
work things out. They
yeah,
still have growth. They still have the communication. Any
yeah,
love, any grow, any love, any growth has to go with communication. Can
yeah.
we all three of us agree on that today?
Hmm.
I agree. Let me add on to what she's saying. When she say it's more outside, it is safe to say that in the United States, we all feel like we're on a hamster wheel, just constantly running,
Hmm.
trying to catch up
Hmm.
with everybody. Nonsense. Like seriously, because when I mention love, I don't want to call out the word, but the word don't reside on this soil because the way social media had destroyed it,
Hmm.
and the way the ridiculous talking point that have been created off social media. You gotta ask yourself this question: when are we gonna be brutally honest with ourselves
Hmm.
and what we seek? Maybe the media, not just mainstream media alone, social media, everything else, is what making this country going crazy. This is why we have people who are saying, "I need to leave and live in another area because this is not mentally or medically safe for my health, mental health, physical and emotional health." Let's put on what's going on right now in today's society now. Let's look at the pressure we're dealing with. If a young man from the age of 18 to 26 had to survive today's world, you got to have a skill set that will allow you to quote unquote have your own place of your own, right? Make your own money, pay the bills, and etc. Right?
Hmm.
Well, looking at the rising cost of things, and a lot of people don't have generational wealth no more because we have seen it. We have talked about on other platforms how people are selling away generational wealth just for a quick buck, and later on that quick buck finds out that generational wealth is taken from them by force because of new law or what I call it, eminent domain, whereby they want to build something in your property, whatever your inheritance in the way they want to take it from you, give you fraction of what the cost is, and get rid of you. Like seriously, because the so-called American dream have been sold for so long. It's nothing but a pure lie. Because the idea, everyone can be a boss, not exactly. Everyone can be an entrepreneur, not exactly. Everyone can be a multi-millionaire, not even happening. But you have everyone chasing this rat race. For what purpose? You want to live in a better neighborhood, but to live in a better neighborhood, it comes with the pros and cons. Sometimes the con is undercover, but it's more than the pros. Where you least expected it. So how you plan to tell the young generation love exists when ones they got piranhas or hyenas or vultures that call girls who are following this social media trout or mindset? Mariana, I know you see this. I'm seeing the same thing. You see all the nonsense. I know you got nephews who are acting themselves. What's the point of being married if this what I see my friend going through, or that's a reality with it? Do I have to spend $500 just to date a girl I don't even know? Do I gotta take you to a fancy restaurant before I can get your attention? I can't
I
have
always
a
said this, David. I told you guys multiple times. Most of these, modern women are looking for the BBD. Do you remember what the BBD stands for?
shoot.
Bigger, better deal. And
Now,
Mariana's probably one of the diamond in the rough. No offense, saying she wants the picket fence, the house, the dog, the family, the kids, and she's willing to work out to the end. How many couples now these days are willing to work it to the end and not call it quits after one little problem?
that's not on social media. Good question.
Yeah.
Like I said, good question. Because here's the harsh reality: to survive today's society, you got to build together, right?
Hmm.
Mariana's a hardworking person. I'm a workaholic. All I know how to do is work and build. But if you doing one your part and the other person's not doing their part and not coming together and constantly planning and plotting on how to get things done, and you feel like you're doing it for so long and nothing to show for, how you expect that person to feel? Nobody wanted to be taken advantage of after sacrificing themselves, working themselves to the ground, taking no vacation for how many years, and to find out your co your co-driver they're taking you for a ride for the longest. How you think that person to feel after that? No plan because remember you and I were on the BMU network, and here BMU talk about how his grandma and grandpa planned very, very well. The dad worked out at the oil rig where he be gone for a couple of months before he come back. When he come back, drop the money, what she do? Go on the kitchen table, look at the check. She good in accounting, so she bound the book. Just go for the rent, just go for the bill. Yeah, this amount, okay. We put this on the side for investment. We do this for the kid. All the other stuff, right? Those were the good old days. I remember in elementary school we were taught that in PS 20, PS level on. come together, have that kitchen table talk, figure out what the economy for the household. Keyword, I mentioned the economy. We don't have that economy talk in household these days. No one trying to balance the bill or balance the budget in the household, so everything can make ends meet. This is why sometimes I always say I'm envious of my big brother here with the Paul Bennett. He found a diamond in the rough. He was a lucky one compared to me. They're able to sit down and have that boring conversation, and they plan their life out properly. You can see what he says, season 29. You got to give it to him when he does that. But this
All
is
right.
what the actual
So,
thing I'm looking at.
so before we move on, let's get these guys in here. Wally, what's going on?
Very good.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our president.
At ease. The sound effect ain't working.
Thank you.
Oh, that's not working?
God heard. God heard.
Like
me.
literally,
Thank
but we
you.
like that literally happened the last two, like this one and the last one. Like there was no sound effect.
Really? All right, I'll fix that. Who wants to go first, Wally or Paul?
What?
I know what we're talking about.
Which is?
Love, growth, and communication.
Wally, you want to take that one? I have no idea where he wants to go with that one.
Do you want me to go first? All right, I'll go first. So, okay, so we're just giving our overall thoughts so far.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm gonna say it like this. For me, at least, I always say, if you ever think about love, growth, and commitment as far as relationship wise, always ask yourself this: do you really want that? That's the first thing I would say to anybody. Like, just in general, for like guys, do you really want marriage at the end of the day? And if so, why? I really question you that. Because in most cases, I'll say this, in most cases, at least guys in my time frame, you more likely get that influence because your parents tell you that, oh yeah, you're gonna get older, you're gonna get married, da 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 da, get kids. That's what they do. But is that really what you want? What journey have you gotten that really inspired you to say, I really want to be a father? And then as well as being a husband. I think that's one thing. Because for me personally, in this life, honestly, I already told myself, look, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, I'm good too. It don't matter. And at the end of the damn day, I'm team me first before I'm team everything else. And that's how I'm gonna just walk with it. Because honestly, let's be honest. At the start of it all, you're gonna have to start to love yourself anyways. But then at the same time, yes, you gotta branch out and deal with other people and everything else and all that. But like in anything, most people, they honor who you are and they be around you, they honor who you are and all that. Others, they don't. I think honestly, that's just the turnaround as far as anything else. But as far as like just leading on to relationships and let alone marriage, that's just the biggest thing for me is like asking yourself that tough question, like, do you really want to be there? Like I know what questions or what things I had as far as experience for myself without anyone else's influence, as far as just what I took in that made me want to be a father one day or a husband. But other than that, it's like, but at the same time, like I said, thanks to the climate and what it is, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I live with it. I'll leave it right there.
Before we move on to Paul, let me ask you a question. Would you like to get married one day?
Pretty much like I left it. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. I can go either way.
Paul, you're up.
All right. Give me the topic again, please.
Love, growth, and communication. This should be an easy one for you. You live it every day.
All right. I'm gonna start with this. The love thing. I guess you gotta. I think you gotta define it. I mean, we've had gray area shows where we talk about love. Is love even a thing? When we had Boss Man on, is love actually even a thing? Or is it just a set of emotions or whatnot that we just try to categorize as something or what have you? Um, I think certainly in recent generations, I think people have paid more attention to that, and I think a lot of that comes from the Disney um, fantasy of it, the romanticism of it, or what have you. But I'm kind of like Tina Turner, with some of these people, the way they look at things. It's like, what's love got to do with it? This isn't about love. This is about survival of the human race. And so, you're looking for the stars to align. You're looking for the tingle. You're looking for the whatever. Uh, what if it is for generations that came before us? Was it all about that? When you had arranged marriages, when you had betrothals, when you had, um, you know, uh, you weren't important when it came to the situation. And I'm not saying that you're not necessarily important now, but I think if that is what you're looking for, if you're looking for marriage in particular, I don't know why people are trying to have their cake and eat it too. You're gonna give up something. It just is. I mean, the two become one. And so if you're thinking that, oh, I'm going to be married, but I want my own identity, screw your identity. I mean, it's just not how it works. It's never been how it worked. The last couple hundred years has been about, oh, the way he or she makes me feel and all these things. But again, that's not how societies were ever built. It was a normal order of things. People got married to further society. So the thing was that if you want to talk about marriage, you have to think beyond the self. Whether it be your God, whether it be the society, whether it be the culture, whatever it is. Marriage is something bigger than you as the individual. And if you're not built for that, or if you're not willing to put that before yourself, then don't get married. But this idea that, oh, I got to be in love. That's when does the Bible ever talk about you have to be in love with somebody? It doesn't. There's no, I mean, Song of Solomon aside, that's the only book in the Bible which no one talks about. It's the only book in the Bible that talks about erotic love. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have a marriage without it. Of course, if you can get that, absolutely. But I think what people are looking for, this kind of feeling, this kind of euphoria, that's been sold to us about if that's not there, then it's not. But it's not like that all the time. But it was never supposed to be about that anyway. It's about the commitment that you made to yourselves. It's about the commitment that you made to the community that you belong to. It's about the commitment you made before your God, if you have one, whatever thing. But it's bigger than yourself. So for a lot of people putting it down, it's like, look, you might not be built for it. So why even talk about it? So as to me, that's the love part. What was the other one? Communication. I talked about this before. Communication is a tool. It's good. I'm not saying communication isn't good, but I'm tired of I'm tired about talking about communication.
Well, it's commitment actually.
I thought he said communication. Was it?
Commitment. I read it wrong. I'm sorry.
It's commitment. Okay, then scratch what I said about it. But I'll say this. I think communication is overrated. I'm not saying it's not a good tool, but you hear about couples, you've been talking for years, and you still can't get it right. At some point, communication must lead to an action. What are you going to do? What we going to do? Someone's going to have to say yes, and someone's going to, so both of you guys are going to have to say yes to something. And like I've said on the last show, this makes sense in virtually every other relationship except between a man and a woman for whatever reason. You go to your job, you know how to get along with people, you know how to communicate, you know how to submit, all these tools. If you play on a sports team, you know all the rules in terms of what is required. But for some reason, when it comes to your intimate partner, all that stuff goes out the window, and you just have a bunch of expectations that don't work in the other worlds that you're in, but somehow you expect the rules to be different here. Cooperation, submission, respect. It works in corporate. It works in your home. I don't understand why people get away from that. Commitment. I mean, yeah, I mean, you got to want this. The main reason I think overall, I can talk about techniques and what we said and what we did or whatever. We just wanted to stay married at the end of the day. We wanted it more than not. And it's yielded a result. Now, the third thing you said was what? So if it's love, commitment, what was the third?
Growth.
Yeah. It's when you're in that grind together. I mean, if you want things to happen, sometimes you have to give up something to yourself in order to grow something else. This idea of like growing as an individual, I think some of that you got to give up too. Give up some of yourself to grow something else. You're giving a part of yourself to grow something else, i.e., the marriage or the relationship that you're in. And if you're not willing to part with that, if your personal needs come beyond everything, then don't expect it to last. When my personal needs were greater than the marriage, then that's when we had problems. When my wife's personal needs were greater than the marriage, that's when we had problems. When we put both of our needs down and said what is in the best interest of the marriage, we have fewer problems. So again, and a lot of times I'll hear sometimes with ladies, like I remember Mariana, you were talking earlier before I got on. You talked about traditional and whatnot. I mean, back in the day, you had roles. Now again, I'm not a stickler to traditional roles. I don't care what role the man or the woman has in the house. I really don't care. You want to mow the lawn and go get on the roof and all the kinds of knock yourself. Or you want to fix the car. I don't care. But people had roles. They knew their roles and they did it and they shut their mouth. Like I said, I talked about The Rock the other night. What Rock used to say: know your role and shut your mouth. So again, I don't care what you guys decide on or what agreement that you come to. I don't care about how it looks, especially the people who don't matter.
Goddammit.
What's that?
Talking to David.
I don't care what your roles is, but whatever those roles are, once you negotiate, once you communicate and get to a role, shut up and do the work. Just shut up. I mean, it's I think people just really just overcomplicate this thing. This isn't that hard, especially when you decide that, oh, I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that hard, but you keep fighting it because you think there's something else. You think there's something that you're losing. There's a portion of yourself that you're sacrificing or whatever, but you can't see anything larger than your own ego. And certainly with social media, the way it's been formed over the years, and even before social media was here, it's all about the individual. That's what oftentimes what capitalism does. Capitalism is all about your individual needs. It does not necessarily harbor a sense of well-being in the society. What's good for society versus what is good for me, the individual. The rugged individualism that is preached in capitalism has caused a sort of a narcissism in most of us. But what about me in this situation? And as long as people are going to be operating on that, yeah, I want to get married, but on my terms. Yes, I want the traditional, but on my terms. Yes, I want a man to be the head of the house, but on my terms. And when is it going to get to a point to say, if this is what you want, what is required, shut up and do the work? And as for the men, I'm not going after any individual sex here. I mean, I do think women have been fed you can have it all, and you cannot. Men, you can't have it all either. What are you willing to give up? And so that's kind of where, for me, that's kind of where it is with me on this. I think people, you have choices. You don't have every choice. But if you go with this option, this is what it requires. And if you don't want to go that route, then fine, don't do it. But then don't complain that you don't have the outcomes that you want. You're afraid of marriage. You don't want marriage, but then you want to talk around. You want to act like, oh, we kind of married anyway. No, you're not. So you try to redefine something that's kind of like already there. Now it's almost like the participation trophy thing. Everybody gets a participation or whatever, but although you did not accomplish the task. So I think people, you just have to, so I think you just have to be clear with people. You can go have this set of decisions and these outcomes. Now choose which one did you want. And then make your choice and then live with it. But I don't know. Call me the old dude on this thing, but I think
No, I actually agree with your opinion, Paul. To be honest with you, because you have to sacrifice things in any relationship you're in. If you're not willing to sacrifice, the problem is people are selfish these days. Very selfish. They want the cake and eat it. Unfortunately, it doesn't work in life anymore.
no.
So, all right, let's get Jay in here. Jay, what's going on, man?
Yo, first of all, shout out to everybody on the panel. Shout out to the Sparta for the sound effect. I like that just now. And shout out to my man, Mr. Bennett. Really, thank you for saying what you said. Thank you. I've been wanting for somebody to say that for so freaking long. That you cannot have your cake and eat it too. And another thing that people don't understand what love actually is when you're in a relationship, selflessness. Not selfishness, selflessness. How is it that cinema therapy has said this 1,000 times and these idiots still can't get it right? You don't get to do whatever you want and then pick. You know, it's like a menu. You get to pick parts of the menu that you like and then don't and then not get to complete the other section of it. It annoys me when I hear people do that, and I'm like, my parents never did that. My grandparents didn't even do that. And yes, it is work, even though me and Wally disagree with that. It is work to be in a relationship with someone. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh, hold on. What? Huh?
Wally, you and me have had this conversation many times, but let me get into it.
Wait. What do we agree on? Because this is why I hate when you always mention me and then you say certain things and then you magically say that I said this. What's the clarification now?
You don't believe marriage. You don't believe marriage takes work. We had this discussion many times.
Goodness, how much have I gotta repeat this shit to this man? I fucking said. You know what? Yeah, whatever, Jay. That's what the fuck I said. That's the exact fucking shit I said. Lord have mercy. You.
Hang on, Jay. I'll back him up. I don't think marriages work either. So I'll tag him up back so we can talk about that. But
okay. If he just listen, and he's getting mad because he said that, so he shouldn't get mad because he said it.
Say that shit. Damn. How the fucking time we gotta keep talking? I had to tell you every fucking time.
We've had this talk thousands of times, Wally, so don't worry about it.
God, Lord have mercy. I swear.
Okay.
You literally said marriage doesn't take work. What the fuck would I say that shit? Why would I say that? Literally,
why would you say it? Because you said it to me. We've had the conversation.
I literally said marriage don't take work. Really? So what does it take?
Yes. No. You believe that it doesn't take work. That's what you said.
I said,
but don't worry.
Really, I said that. I said it doesn't take work. Really? So
yeah,
it just happens magically. It happens magically.
Hey, that's what you said to me. So hey,
it just happens magically. So the guy that says I could take so I'm willing to have it, but at the same time I'm not willing to if it doesn't happen. So, but if I'm willing to have it, it doesn't take work. Why would I want to have it and it don't take work, knowing that this takes work? Why would I have it? Because if it takes work, then really I'm just self-sabotaging myself. So why would I?
Well, if you don't, because I'll say this: if you don't put work into anything, then then you're pretty much, a go with the flow type person. I'm not that type of person.
So again, why would I get into it?
And that's a majority of people that do believe that. Now, do you fall into that category? I don't know particularly, But that's what you
So
told me, and
okay, so
but that's
let me
what
ask you,
but that's what
let
you
me
told
ask
me,
you
and then I was like, okay, I mean, I'm like,
okay, so let me ask
why
you this.
doesn't it?
Hold on. Let me ask you this, right?
Go for it.
Okay, you said it takes work, right? So if I'm willing to
Yes.
put work being here, if I'm willing to put work dealing with you and the other channel, if I'm willing to put in work in everywhere else I do, in anything my own, why would I not put in work in a marriage?
I don't know. You got to tell me like what reason? Is
You
it
gotta be
easy for
fucking
you?
kidding me right now. You really gotta be fucking kidding me. You gotta be fucking kidding me. All right, I'm gonna down the hill. I'm gonna down the hill. Let me put the let me put samurai sword in my chest and call it a day.
All right. Someone's breaking up. I'm not sure who it is.
Yeah, someone's
Am I
breaking up.
breaking up?
Jake.
Look,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
you're
so.
coming back now. Go
hold
ahead,
on.
Jay.
Am I good now, or am I off?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I was worried because I pulled over. Okay.
Jay, you're breaking up again, bro.
You're
You're
breaking
breaking
up
up really
again.
bad.
Yep.
Oh God. Ah, God. Hold on.
All right. In the meantime, let me ask you guys a question till he gets back. Paul, I really want you to answer this because I know you have more knowledge than this than anybody. What does where's my question? What does lasting love mean to you?
I have no idea.
Okay.
What is lasting? I live in the present. I don't believe in lasting. Again, look at my hashtag. I don't care if it lasts. I'm worried about this year. This is season 29. I don't care what happened 28 seasons ago. How's that going to serve me now? It's this year. It's in the moment. It's in the present. What we're doing now, what we're planning in the short-term future is all that matters. We could have had a rocky early part of our match. We went through our rocky periods and whatnot. We're not in that rocky place anymore. So I don't care if it lasted. The only thing that matters to me is right now. So I don't care if it lasts. And I can't predict the future. So I don't know if love will last in the future because I don't know if I'm going to get up tomorrow. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I may make love to my wife tonight. That might be the last time. I have no idea. And who's going to care after that? So again, one of the things, again, over time, I live in the present. So I don't care about long lasting. That's a bar soap commercial. Long
Actually,
lasting
gum.
freshness. That's a
gum
Downy commercial. My marriage is not a Downy ad. Long lasting that lasts all. I'm right here. I'm gonna ask my wife, how are you doing now? How you doing today? Is everything all right? Are you okay? You good? I'm good too. That's all I need to know.
No, go ahead, David.
I'm glad that he said what he said, because this is something I've been trying to point out. When you seek out elderly couples who have been married for past 20, 30, 40 years, we have to pay attention to the keywords that they say. Because besides Mr. Bennett, I had security boss, she would say the same thing. Marriage is like a marathon. It takes both of them to make it work. But Mr. Bennett point is more clearer. He taking at each season because when you put a Ford Phaeton ahead of you, It's like you're putting weight on a relationship already that you're not supposed to put on it. What Mr. Bennett and his wife are doing, they're balance out the weight load or the payload of marriage, which keep it going strong. But when you put a future projection whereby the weight load of that projection can be seen extremely heavy, what do you expect to happen? That's what I'm looking at because they're going strong. Security board is going strong. Uncle Rick is going strong. There are a few of us elder we have on the YouTube page who are going strong past 20 plus years. I know you don't want to put this guy's name up, but he's also in the list of it, Anton Daniel, 20 plus years. But the man is still married. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. You can't knock him, but he's making it work. So what are we doing? Some say it doesn't take work. Some say it take work. Speak to those who have made it last that long and ask them what they tell you. Would it work? Would it compromise? Would it discipline? Would due diligence? Ask those people for the honest answer and you found out by those principles because I hate to say Mr. Bennett was correct, long lasting. I think in America we make phrase that many don't live by. And wonder why some of the phrase is becoming annoying. But I get it. But why I say LOVE, I don't call it as the word because for one, you can mention such a thing if you don't understand the fundamental or root behind it. And I told you earlier the show, the only difference I believe is the one in the Bible, which is very logical. But look at today's society, do they follow it? No. So to build something that will last long, the question is, what is the foundation based on? Building a marriage is like building a house, if you think about it. Because before you build a house, you have to build a very solid foundation. What does the foundation consist of? What material are you using to build the foundation of your home? Are they quality material or shady material that you know when the storm hit, that thing fall apart? I'm watching the documentary what happened in Katrina 20 years later. That thing made me cry. So ask this questions. How come New Orleans, that area did not last long past Katrina? Why it feel like it haven't recovered yet, based on the foundation? Is it safe to say that city had a weak foundation? They didn't trying to build it, make sure it survived the storm. I'm not throwing shade at that town, but you gotta put that in perspective after marriage. You may have a tsunami, you may have a thunderstorm, you may have an earthquake, you may have a hurricane. Are you sure the foundation of your marriage is strong enough to withstand those hits? If not, ask the question, what are you missing that foundation? Because before you talk about building long lasting anything, you should talk about building a strong, solid foundation. Mr. Bennett and his wife have a solid foundation. This is why they're going 29 seasons and counting. Security boss, no different because they have a solid foundation. Anton, no different because he have a solid foundation. I was taught this. Before you talk about having a long lasting marriage, you need to build a solid foundation first. What you stand on, what principle do you stand on? What belief do you stand on? I think that's where we having the biggest confusion. Everybody want to make something last, but don't make build things from the ground. No one putting the effort or the work, like someone would call it, put the work or put their hand, get it dirty. No one want to ask the question that will force you to be honest with yourself. These are the issues that we have in today's society when it comes to relationship that people are refusing to admit or face. There's the reason why we don't have a lot of long-lasting relationships. The ever of Mr. Bennett will soon leave us if we're not careful. Because there's no one among our generation who are following the same fundamental they are following. You have all type of terms, and if I want to be brutally honest, a lot of these people terms are half-assed. We need a bunch of professional therapists who have counseled many marriages that calling out the bullshit, like Mr. Actor Brother, what he did, and he pointed out the obvious because it's on both sides, but no one to really ask themselves the honest question. Yeah, I'm going through it right now. Well, I'd love to be remarried again, hopefully. But I'm old school. I understand fundamentals. I understand foundational purpose. But how would I find someone who has the same track mind that I have, who's not into the bullshit, who's willing to put in the grind, the work? What if I say, you know what? If we're gonna do it, if we're not gonna do it on this way, it'll be out of this way because I don't need all the shenanigans. Am I wrong to say that? There are plenty of people that are making that move already. I can speak quietly. I'm not saying go to Africa. Some are going to Europe. Some are going to Asia. Some are going to South America. Where they see fit for them, that feel comfortable for them. I'm not saying that's that's for everybody. Some want to stay here and go to the woods. I'm seeing that a lot. Quietly. We have people who work in Wall Street and everything. They don't want to be in the city no more. They move far away from the city because they realize that's just driving them insane. Wherever you think that would fit you, you live by that. Everybody's not the same. It's how you cope and you live by it. But what you need to understand, if you want to make something last, what you will build your foundation, it should be critical first. If you're not willing to sit down and have that nitty gritty talk and plan out your foundation, make sure that you're holding to the accountability, the level of accountability on both ends. Willing to make sure there's no burning out. There's no looking for a quick exit. Because we hear people confess. They pretend they're in the marriage, but they got one leg in, one leg out. They're siphoning money from their husband account quietly. That's the case of a man. But when he's struggling, killing himself, you stealing the money from, and he trying to make sense what the hell is going on. We're like, you robbing him. He killing himself. Remember what I said? Sometimes it could be one sided. You making all the sacrifices. You burning yourself out, make sure the household is stand on ground. But while your partner or the enemy is just watching you doing a hole, put a tube, you know how you suck gasoline out of the tank? Doing that to your marriage.
Hmm.
That happens. It could be the other way around. The woman doing this all that work and the man doing the same thing. How you sure you not have the right mom co-pilot with you? That's the harsh reality. And I remember I said it before, some show back. If you want to know the kind of caliber of women you're dealing with, talk to the parents. I've been said that from day one. Talk to the parents. If you can't get the idea of the person you're dealing with through the parents, then that's the risk you gotta take. It's like the stock market. No one want to go into the stock market and cryptocurrency, but you're willing to put money in the invest to make sure you get something out of the return. That's the risk you have to take too as well. This is why I say what I said. People are making a joke out of relationship, but I understand the fundamental behind it. We have people like Mr. Bennett who going through 29 seasons. Next year will be 30 seasons. And the year before that with 31 seasons. And they'll keep on going on strong. Season after season. And the way he take it is the most logical and mental way to approach it. Season after season. Most couples who are going that far are doing the same way. Season after season. And when they tell us young folk that what we should work on or how we should do it, how often do we listen to them? We did have this panel before in the past where we had the old generation, the middle class generation, and the young generation. You see how that went about. Young generation want to take advice from the old generation. They have all the answer, but a few years down the line, they complain, oh, the old generation left them behind. But how the old generation left you behind, but you clog your ear, but you don't want to listen? I trained myself throughout my 20s to sit down at the feet of my elders and listen to what they have to tell me without questioning them. And when they tell me everything, I ask questions to get clarity, to get understanding. How many young people do the same exact thing? Seek out others to gain wisdom, rather than saying, "Oh, I only to listen to no old folks." I rest my case.
Anybody else want to go?
Yeah, let Mariana go. She hasn't said anything.
Go, Mariana.
Um, lasting love or whatever the case is. I mean, for that type of term, when I was a little girl, I always depict Disney fairy tales that way, like from Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty. But then you realize that is all fairy tale, and as it progressed, for me, lasting love would be more like, when couples are married, they have to work it out, helping each other. I mean, do it in a way more like a survival mode. I don't know. I mean, what are you laughing over there, David? You're crazy over there. um, lasting love is more like to appreciate each other, more like to care one another, to know that I'm gonna be there for you, that type of way. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Um, I mean, I don't know what else can I say, but not like love has to be more like beyond. Like you do, I'm gonna go beyond and help you, but of course in a humble way, but not to be like, obviously I got this. If you need something taken care of, I got this, whatever the case is. That's the way I look at lasting love. You put a hand on it, and if it seems like it's a burden, you have to help out your spouse, whatever the case is, because sometimes your spouse cannot handle everything. um I mean, that's the way I look at it, because when you're married you have to be as one, but to also help the one doesn't feel like it's taking too much. um that's the
Hang
way
on.
I look at it. But
Can you say
Sorry.
can you say that last point again, Mariana?
to have the marriage as one, to help each other, not to have somebody to feel like it's like the other spouse feel like it's too much too much, it's getting overwhelming the other spouse, to help out the other spouse. I don't know if I'm saying this correctly. um
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at that way because it's more like, from what I observed when I was growing up, I know my parents didn't have like a very good marriage. It's more like a survival mode, I will say. You love, but you in a way more survive, but you love your kids in order, that the way I look at it at that moment. um because I know that at that moment, I know it was a bumping ride, I will say, during my parents' mind before my mom passed away. But I know it wasn't easy, but I know that in a way it's more like survival, to survive, because I know at the time I asked my mom, you ever consider divorcing him? And she told me at that moment, if I divorced him, I don't think I was able to survive. That's what she told me. So, some could able to do it on their own, and some cannot, unfortunately. So, I mean, lasting love is you have to, more like you have to help each other and appreciate each other. That's my take on it. I mean, I don't know what else can I say. Um, but that's the way I look at it.
All right. Coach, we're speaking about love, growth, and communication. Go ahead.
Man, that's A loaded question in one, man. This
Welcome to
like
the club.
it's
Good
like
day,
I'm
buddy.
getting in the game.
Welcome to the club.
No, I'm getting in the
Baby, shut
game,
up.
man. We down by 2 touchdowns with 3 minutes left. And I'm a rookie, man.
That's
No, but
right.
it's a
Come on,
great
Michael Vick.
question. Yeah, it's a great question, man. But let me say this first, man. I heard Wally. I don't know what Wally was going off on, but yeah, Wally. I'll give you a hug, Wally. I'm gonna give you a distant hug. But I don't know, talking about from a relationship point of view, a marriage point of view, or family point of view, just marriage relationship.
Uh, Relationship, marriage.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess the built to last, I think that's something that I would never put a time on. I think when two people get together, they're already built that way. And it's hard for me to answer that. I'm glad that I am built for life. I'm not built for just a relationship. I've always wanted to live a long life. I've always wanted to do things, outside of a woman. I love sports. I love doing manly stuff outside of a woman. I like to fix things and put things together. I think that's important, especially just for a boy, man, growing up. You know what I'm saying? I like listening to older men talk. I ain't never listened to women talk. And I think when I met a female or something, I asked real questions. I've always like, you like sports? Because if she likes sports, that means she might come and see me play. If she didn't like sports, then what other behaviors could she be getting into? She ain't around me, and I never trusted people like that. You know what I'm saying? I just took people for who they are. I wasn't thinking like, oh, she gonna talk with a boy. I wasn't worried about that. But I've always looked at the person's hobbies. I like hobbies. So yeah, I mean, built to last. I would hope that I'm built to last for my wife and she's built for me. Some women I dated, I knew they wasn't built to last. The way they would panic under pressure. And I'm not a big panicker under pressure, but I do want to get the job done. Love, love. That's too vague. I don't know if I've ever loved my wife even ever more. I love any woman even more than I love my wife today. I was like some women, for what they had, but their attributes. But I dated millionaires and things. Those are the wildest ones. Like, and I wasn't going off of what they had because I knew it was temporary. It can be taken away, but I've always felt like I was valuable. I never really argued and cursed with women ever. I argue and curse with y'all on YouTube. Y'all get it. But even then, I still don't curse women. Growth is something that continues. I hope to be better the next 5 years down the road than I am. Not speak my mind as much. Whether it's I learned that a lot of us regular working people, we're opinionated about regular working stuff. And nobody's opinion is greater than mine, and mine is no greater than theirs. It's just an opinion. I mean, commitment. Yeah, I think I made a commitment years ago to always want to help people. I think I did that a long time ago, just as a kid, helping old ladies, helping the handicapped, the disabled, the disadvantaged. I've always been a part of that, and I've looked for certain things like that in women that I wanted to be with. But I also understood that not every woman likes a light skinned dude with a big nose and big lips. That's part of man nature. It's just part of what it is. Hey, I wasn't tall enough. I grew to 5'9 3/4" in the 10th grade, and that's where I stuck at. I couldn't be mad. Oh, you don't know. I didn't think about that. I just accepted me who I was, and then I looked at women that had attributes like my mom, because my mom took care of people, babysat. She took care of a lot of us, and I had 5 sisters. And my dad was the craziest dude, but he was the realest dude I needed. He kept it real. He told me make sure I respect people. And my father could rehearse the Bible, but I never saw my father go to church in all my life until he was older. Not while I was coming up through high school and college. Military, no, he wasn't stepping in. But as he got older, but he always was there. He always taught that respect. All of my sisters were married, have been married except one. So I don't know, man. It just ebbs and flows. I can't speak for anybody but myself, but I can tell you this: you have to don't think about being built for last. Just build in the story. Love yourself first. Growth. If you love yourself and you build, you're gonna grow. Commitment. Be committed to doing something right, regardless of the money you think you can make out of it. Because sometimes your blessings come with the work you put in. A lot of people just don't want to do the work and expect the results. But I'll say it as a regular man, you'll never get the benefit ever. You will go down in shame for yourself. That's not a good space to be in. So get out, put in the work, especially while you're young. Before you get old and ugly like me, put in the work, man. It'll pay off when you get old and ugly like me.
Hey, Coach, let me ask you something. Is marriage hard work?
Man, it's consistent work. I ain't gonna necessarily say
But
it. So
is
it's
it work?
consistent work.
All right. But do you think it work at all? Like,
You have to work. You have to work at all 8 sides of who you are. You do. You have to think about emotion. You have to think about communication. You have to think about financial literacy. You got to think about being a builder, like with your hands, making sure everything is working properly. It's so many nuances, man. Just
I
protect
get it, but let me frame it this way, because I don't think it's work. So again, Jay, you can go off on me if you want to. Leave Wally out of it, since he said he didn't say it. I'm saying it. I think we do damage to people when we say it's work. What part of marriage is work that you wouldn't have to do necessarily on your own in your own life? You talking about the building and the things of that nature. You got to do that for yourself anyway.
Yeah, I guess it's just
You
the
got
way
to
you
learn how to
frame it.
cook and clean and iron and wash your clothes and do. You got to do all that for
Yeah,
yourself anyway.
yeah. I guess it's the way you asked me the question. Is
So,
it work?
but people talk about, oh, well, marriage is hard work.
No, it's not hard work. No.
No, it's just
That's
we're
why I said
hard
it's just-
headed.
Yeah, it is. It is.
People are hard headed.
Yeah.
I mean, the work is like you're going against what is required for the relationship that to work. It's like, no, you're fighting it because you have your own intention or ideas of what should be done. If letting go of your ego is hard work, then I don't know what work is then.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, it's because you let go of your ego and everything else. Like I said earlier, you can go to work. Hey, Mr. Balls. Hi, Mr. Balls. Thank you, Mr. Balls. Hey, Mr. Balls. Dude, all that kind of stuff. No problem. And you get home and your spouse or whatever asks you to do something, so you get it yourself. What is that? Now, if you're going to tell me to come with an attitude like that, if that's work, then nothing is work or everything is work. Me taking this here and moving it from here to here, then that's work too. Actually, it is. By physics, it is. I'm taking something, I'm applying force to something and moving and displacing an object from one to another. Then everything is work then.
Mm-hmm.
But why put marriage as being so much harder than anything else? See, when I think of work, I think of guys, I think of the blue collar guys. I think of the guys who have to go and build roads and dig ditches and build dams and do crazy, crazy stuff like that. Build skyscrapers and extract from the earth. That's work. Even in sports, getting out there in football camp in 95-degree weather and sweating and practicing and passing out from heat stroke or whatnot. Yeah, I think that's work. But to make a decision, to say, yes, I'm going to cooperate. If we're going to make that work, then nothing is work. And again, what aspect of it is something that you wouldn't have to do to maintain if you owned a place of your own? What is it in that place that you wouldn't have to do now because you're? In fact, if you get mad, you probably have to do less because now you got someone to possibly share those tasks with. When you live by yourself, you got to cook by yourself all the time. Now you got somebody who can share the load with you. So marriage is actually, when you look at it in the right context, you're doing less work. But it's such hard work, man. I'm telling you, it's the hardest thing I ever done. No, you're just the hardest headed person I've ever seen. So I think we got to get this out of our heads about the struggle. The struggle is us as individuals in overcoming our own selfish desires in effort to build something bigger than ourselves. But if we're going to continue to call this work, then nothing's work. I'm sorry. That peeve, I've heard that forever.
But Brother
And
Bennett,
it's always bothered me, and I'm sorry. To me, it doesn't qualify physically in physics, and it barely qualifies in reality as work, especially when more times than not you'll have to work harder by yourself than with somebody. And there's certain things you cannot do, no matter how often or frequently you do it, without a partner.
So
I'll leave
let
it
Jay
there.
go next because I know he has something to say. Go ahead, Jay.
All right, how do I sound? Am I all good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Because I got to respond to Mr. Bennett. And listen, I want to say this. Here's what I'm saying. Individually, yes, there's a lot more. There is a lot of things on your shoulders because guess what? You're carrying you're literally your dad's legacy. So there are certain things that you have to carry on that you do have to put work on yourself to be the man that you want to be or the man that he wants you to be. But more so, you're becoming your own man regardless. There's templates for all of this. No one could argue me that on that. I personally believe that because I've seen too many of my brothers of us being reflections of our dads and actually from him, no, from our granddad to our dad, and then we become our own person after that. Whatever personal things that we have, we need to work on those. Otherwise, you'd be unfit for marriage, in my opinion. That's just what I personally think there. Second of all, I do think in marriage, yes, when two become one, and I've always believed that it's a less of a load. It should be less of a load on both of you. I still believe you're putting in work, but you're not putting in hard. First of all, I don't agree. And when you're married together, it's super hard work. I don't believe that. My parents never told me that. They just said work. They never said super hard work to try to put some type of scrutiny in my head to think that, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. You're gonna struggle in things and
But you have
and
heard that though, right?
you're gonna have nervous breakdowns. And I'm like, no, they never said that to me.
But
They
you've heard
said,
that though,
listen,
right? Hang on, but you've
no,
heard
no,
that
no.
though, right?
I
Okay.
definitely have heard it, and
Okay.
my parents told me stay away from people who say that because they're a detriment. Because that's one thing I remember my grandmother and my mom always telling me. And then my dad pulled me over and told me, son, don't listen to that. It's you and your lady that are going to be doing things. It is not some super overcomplicated thing that you have to do. And I do agree with you what you said earlier when you said some things are simple. I do agree with that. I think people have taken key phrases, take these experiences and use it to shut down everything that you say. I'm talking about to the point where they'll they'll go in with like a sort of like I don't want to say trauma, but because I think if you have trauma, you shouldn't be fit for marriage in general unless you get that worked out yourself. But if there's some preconceived notion that you have that this is like probably the hardest thing you'll ever do, it's the worst thing you'll ever do, then I'm sorry, you're too paranoid to be together with somebody, and you probably shouldn't be in a relationship with anybody. Because me, I always had the good feeling spirit of as long as I'm a good man, I know I'm a good man. I put in the work that I'm supposed to. I be the problem solver, like how my dad was. I can get through anything. Listen to my lady. I can hear I hear the opinion she have to make myself better. But like I said, I think there might be something like maybe one thing I got to work on. But that's the learning process of learning each other. because I said because if you're getting married to this person, I assume you've learned everything you need to know about them. Which, by the way, I say this: I don't think you'll learn everything. I think you'll learn the majority of the stuff that's important about her, that you like, that you love. And guess what? You're not betting on that. You're going with the things that she has come. You know the things coming to the table, and you're also bringing the things that you add going to the table as well. And by the way, I agree earlier when you said, can nobody do everything? For example, if my wife is better at stocks or mathematician better than me, I'm gonna let her handle that. You want to know why that is? One, I hate math. That's number one, and number two, my wife thrives in that. Like that's what she got a degree in or something. Like hell yeah, I'm gonna put that to use.
So
Hear me?
Jay, would you allow her to handle the finances then, since she's so great at math?
If she's that great at math, I'll let her handle it. I
Yeah.
ain't crazy. I ain't crazy about that. Like for example, it ain't, and I promise you guys, it is no control with me trying to have control of the money. Like I said, like as long as I make it and and it's all going to the same pot that we know that the pool of what we're pulling into. I am so listen. It how much of a stress reliever that is for me. I'm I'm jumping on the bed. I'm cool. Like, all right, all I got to do is like, all right, babe, you got that. I got this. We know we got to work out now. And I'll say this: if there comes a time that like, we're not spending enough time together, but we know what the goal is ultimately. That's something that like, okay, all right, we'll both sit down, we'll talk about it, and then we'll work on that. Like I said, so something that's like kind of like new like that. Like I have no problem like doing that. Like that's what I'm saying because that's what my parents did. That's what my grandparents did. And like I said, they did it, and it lasts for a long lifetime. Like I said, my grandmother is about to be freaking 90 years old, married to my grandfather, like literally like for a long, long time. And it shows the things that she was good at, and it showed the things that he was good at. And yeah, they country, but guess what? It worked.
So Jay, I don't want to cut you off, but you bring up
No,
an
go ahead,
interesting
partner.
point. You bring an interesting point with your grandfolks, right? Are you
Hmm.
trying to are you trying to get close to time they record, or you just moving in the space of, what I'm saying? It's and I guess just being in the topic of marriage, and brother Bennett, I agree. Marriage is not work as far as my relationship with my wife, right? But
Hmm.
and I was looking at it in a sense that marriage is work because there's so much that I have to do to make sure that we are okay. And I'm just looking at it in that concept of working. I'm always thinking working and building. That's me being
Yeah.
active in it. But there's no better person that I like being around is my wife. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
we laugh and joke about stuff that people look at us like, damn, they doing that. And it's such a beautiful relationship. I wouldn't change if something happened. She always tell me, something happened to me, you go out here. I said, I'm gonna be a single man, moving around in the country with my dog and living my best life. I ain't letting nobody move in no space. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I ain't doing none of that. But because I'm in it for the long haul. And I think marriage, Mr. Bennett, you've been 20 something years in. So, what I'm saying, your commitment is already solidified and the future is already stamped. You know what I'm saying? You can't see nothing different. But I think a lot of these younger brothers ain't even looking at that lens like there is someone out here. There is someone. And it's not so hard to find, but it's very, I would think, Mr. Bennett, your concept of the way you did 25 years ago is needed today. Putting that list together, going to talk to somebody, because, Mr. Bennett, they more caught up in the aesthetics now, what she look like, instead of giving them something to think about, something to talk about. And if they can't answer those questions, don't waste 3 or 5 years playing boyfriend, girlfriend to dead end because from 35 and over, you trying to play that, not saying nobody here, but just people in general, you try to play that game, you're going to look up and be 55 and realize you really have nothing other than just stuff and no real fulfilling person in life and joy. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but y'all young dudes, you, Wally, man, y'all get married, man. Don't play the game. Don't listen to no other man. Just
Oh, of course. Like I've said this before. I think this I don't want to. I hate to make generalize all, but I'm gonna say majority because people get mad if I group all this crap together. But I have no other way of seeing it, so I'm trying to be subjective in this regards. I think this generation it just they've lost that love of what makes no that beautiful thing of what makes two people so unified together, and they believe in they become like grotesque, nasty, just awful versions of themselves. To me, they're pretty much damn pariahs, and they lack the ability to understand common sense and understand that you life is only as hard as you make it. And now I know understand there are circumstances in some regards, but at this point, I'm 34 years old. Listen, there's no excuse for me to be where I'm at right now. Like I said, I'm in a good place. I got two jobs. I'm ranking in the money. I'm doing things to make sure I secure a good future for myself. And guess what? This is
Jay,
something I want every brother to hear. I'm building my peace.
Jay, are you learning how to love yourself right now?
Learning how to love myself. Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, so
I can promise you that I am.
how long have you been on this journey?
About God Christ. No, one. I might have to count it because it's like about 12 years.
Oh well, I'm gonna give you a nice love. I'm gonna give you a man hug from over here, but it ain't gonna come out. It ain't gonna might not soothe the ears.
Do it.
You being too hard on yourself. You got about 2 more years to snap out of it. You got 2 years to snap out of it, and go ahead and solidify everything that you keep swirling around in your head. Stop
Right.
holding on to it. It ain't gonna. Who is it gonna bless? Who is it gonna bless if you keep holding on to it? You go take any woman that you meet. Take them over to see your oldest grandmama, auntie, and your family, boy. Get on over, hang out. Let them say, go in there and talk to them, and you go outside with the old men and let them give you some game and take them over, all your good cousins, and you know what I'm saying, and know who her mom and father is. Go talk to her mom and father, whether she ain't talk. I mean, I don't know how to. I ain't telling you what to do. I'm just saying, man,
No,
you
no,
got
no,
a
no,
good
no,
heart. Listen, bro,
no.
you got a good
I see what
heart,
you're
but
saying.
you internalizing everything about your goodness instead of sharing it. Don't you want? Do you have any children?
No, currently I don't. Not.
Oh,
I don't
well,
have any children outside of marriage.
hold on. So you don't want no big head boy that look like you that wear glasses and do some stuff. You don't want hold on.
Hey,
You don't want a little girl that got that good thick hair like you got on your head, and you can just show her how to just be a lady and be strong and be respectful. And make sure she got her boyfriends don't come around. They're about 18 with a direction in life. You don't want that.
oh no, no, oh no, brother. Trust and believe. I want all of that.
All
Like I
right.
said, that's something that I strive to have. Like I said, everybody tells me they tell me this, but at the same time, I got told a lot. Like yo, when I was really younger, when I was 24, like you'll make a really good father. And I'm like, you guys, that's the one thing. Yeah, I can say that now because I was young, but like I I'd have been scared of being a father at 24 because I wasn't mature enough. Like how
Okay.
I am now, like I've
Okay.
learned so much. Like I'll tell
Yes.
you this, I've learned so much just from my uncles, my fathers, my moms, my grandmothers, like
Yes.
all that is there. And my
Yes.
brothers too, by the way. They're married as well.
MJ,
So
Jay,
it's like there.
listen. Take all of that. Take all that good history, that good love that you done got. And I'm not saying you gotta get a woman, but it's a woman out there that gonna look you in your four eyes and be in love with you. But you gotta come
I
to
feel you.
her. You gotta come to her loving yourself, with your intentions to be a man of that family, make sure that you connect her to your family tree and let them make it. Because some of them might be like, man, she ain't that one. Okay, don't waste time with her. Move on.
Right.
And but here, and it comes to that good word, you might have to go through 10 or 12 to figure out that one. Because in the Bible, it only say you only got to find one. And a whole lot of them go pass by you like, woo, that look good. You ain't gonna be able to keep up with it. But
Right.
you ain't seeing it. They ain't meant for you to see it. But it, in order to sort of leapfrog the sort of scarcity of, oh man, what if I get married? What if she take my money? What if, or what if? What if you ain't here next week? Then what? It's just a whole lot of what ifs. They so saying if what if was a filth, you be drunk.
That's true.
So I'm just saying, and listen, bro, listen, that's what I'm saying, because I see the love you have, right? And take advantage of where you are now, because in 4 years you'll be 36, right? By that time, that's why I say get intentional, because you could find you a woman, wife, get married, man. Go through her family tree quick. Go see the cousins who beg for money. Go see the cousins who, you.
That's some real stuff, man. I'm telling you.
No, that's real. That's
but
real.
if she's a good woman, she's just in that family, doesn't make her a bad woman. You let
I
them know
agree.
who you are. Listen, I'm Jay Tadaki, and don't be coming on my house with my wife thinking y'all just gonna get money and do all this dumb stuff. But I'm just saying that's how deep you got to go with black folk to the real conversations if
All
you're
right.
really invested in
So,
them. So you
David,
good, man. Don't be
go
scared.
say
I'm
what you
sorry.
need
Go
to,
ahead,
and
Dave.
let's start getting our final
Thank
thoughts.
you, brother.
I want to throw it into the mix. Jay, I know this may sound strange to you, but are you open to arranged marriages? Meaning, if any of your male relatives want to recommend a woman to you who they think is good for you, are you open to that type of mindset?
I am open to it because honestly, I'm gonna keep it real with you. If I have children, like I said, once I have children, I believe in arranged marriages for them too. Sorry, I really believe that.
And the reason why I'm being that type of arrangement, people think that it's a bad thing, but mostly arranged marriages normally is trying to pull the good quality among the youth who they think they'd be better, because I know that is the actual fundamental concept between arranged marriage. And I hate to say it, but it's almost similar to what I'm not sure in the Paul Bennett era or era before him, where they actually did such a thing whereby it almost seemed like a rain, but you had to talk to the father and to the uncle and so on and so forth before you get to the daughter, so to speak. Am I
Exactly.
right? Am I right, Mr.
Yeah.
Bennett?
Yeah, the only thing I would say that might be different from yours is that arranged marriages, again, it's less about the individuals though. They're not looking necessarily who's going to be a best fit for you. They're looking for, again, who's going to be a best fit for the
For the
community,
for the
for
family, for
the
the
for the
community.
culture.
Yeah.
I
Because I
get
mean,
that.
Right.
you got, because I was watching something earlier about they had like Samoan culture, and they were talking about like the rituals and whatnot. And basically, once you get absorbed into them, the Maoris and them Samoans and them Polynesians, you like a warrior. You know what I mean? Like they
Mm-hmm.
looking for dudes like you gonna pick up the spear, you gonna pick up the sword, and you're gonna go and so again, there's a criteria. They're looking for that. They're looking to add to the collective
To the collective of the culture, and like,
of the
yeah, it's a
culture. They're
passing of the
not looking
torch.
for, okay, he'll be a good fit. If he can't do the things that a man in that culture is willing to do, no matter how well he may treat your daughter, he can be
He's
like, look, I like
useless,
him, but he's not fit. So again,
useless, and
arranged.
yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of it is about the overall. Like I said, marriage for so many years was not about you. It was
Mm-hmm.
something bigger than you. Your culture, your gods, your tribe, your village, your territory. It
Building
was all those other
alliances.
things.
Yeah.
You were last on the totem pole in terms of your individual happiness. And
Mm-hmm.
you were expected to bear children out of that relationship, again, to continue the lineage of whatever that was going on. It's only in the last couple hundred years where this whole idea of romantic love was a thing that
It
everybody
was a
was
thing.
like, was into. So I think our views and perceptions of things is a little bit different. I'm not saying, yes, you shouldn't love your spouse passionately and have them feelings. Yeah, all that's good. But I
Right.
truly think for marriage, unless you think of something greater than yourself, the next generation, your community, your, whatever, unless that's there, that's gonna, because that's gonna, when the times do get hard. Because if it's just you and her, then be like, look, I'm bouncing. Who's gonna hold you in check to hold you accountable to say, nah, we don't do that here?
We don't
Or
do that
someone's
here.
going to step in,
Exactly.
or someone's going to intervene, or whatever. So again, what coach is saying, I 1000% agree with him. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. In fact, there's one things that I did. I wanted to meet my wife's family ASAP, or anybody I dated. I want to meet your
I did
mother.
too.
I want to meet your,
Yeah.
I want to be in your environment, as crazy as it is, because I want to know what I'm at. Because I understood that I'm not only marrying her, I'm marrying her
The
community, her
family.
family.
Right.
Like ride or
Yeah.
die, I'm gonna be taking care of her mama at some point in time. I'm gonna be taking care of the dad.
Exactly.
So I need to know what I'm getting myself into. It's bigger than just us. And mind you, I'm married for selfish reasons. I told guys all the time, I'm married because I wanted
I love
Mariana,
that.
close your ears, cover your ears. I'm married because I wanted sex. That's why I got married. But I was not gonna have sex outside of marriage.
Outside
But
of
I know
marriage,
if I want
exactly. The
sex, I
correct
need a
way.
wife. That's why I did it. But even though I married for selfish reasons, I still understood the assignment that whoever I
Right.
marry, I'm marrying her family too. And therefore, so I got it. So the selection process didn't change. My motivation was what it was. But the process, you can't cheat the process though. And I wasn't just
I
going to
agree.
marry the first woman who's going to give it to me. I got to marry I got to marry the collective. And if I wasn't good
Exactly.
with the collective, then it wasn't going to happen. So yeah, the community, the culture matters. So
Hmm.
so like you have a firm culture and foundation together. Yeah, you want to expose a woman to that ASAP. And if she going to bounce, thank God. But if she going to stay, even with the dysfunction, especially if you got some crazy, you all got some crazy folks. She gonna stay
We
with
do.
you even with the crazy ones. I'm like, yeah,
Like
she'd be
she the
like,
one.
So
She the
yeah,
one.
yeah.
go ahead, Jay. Finish your sentence really fast.
And that's
No, no.
and I'll use that as my final statement. I don't need to say anything else tonight. So when
All
Oh
right.
no, 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 Mr. Bennett and Coach Ferg hit it on the head. I've always said this. So I do want to bring her up because I have a lot of love for this girl. Her family. I did want to meet her family. Um, her dad was a deacon. He was married. Um, and my parents are Christian as well. So you can say Christian and religious wise, we fit well together in that regards. I really had to earn, the love of her aunts, love of her uncles. Like I said, her dad liked me a lot. I would have private conversations with him about my faith and things about what I believed in. And those are really good conversations. And the thing is, like I said, it is not a knock on her dad. Like I said, she had an amazing father. I think she has some amazing sisters and some amazing brothers-in-laws. Um, and the thing is, like, I realized if I marry this girl, like, I'm marrying the family, I'm marrying everything that comes with it. And when my father was getting to me, like I said, you'll trust me, you'll get that feeling of when you feel like you've been accepted into like a relationship once you've married her. Trust me, it's more of like it's more of a passing of a torch, an initiation of sorts. And for me, one of my biggest things was never to have kids outside of marriage, or nothing to betray my trust and my vow of what I believe in. And I believe really strongly in that. Because uh, it shouldn't be something that you do willy nilly. It's not something you should do because all your friends did it, and it's something you should do that you make a trust and a vow on. And that's why I take marriage with wholeheartedly seriously. Like, I don't believe in the people who just fiddle faddle with it and then just like kind of like piss on it, in the sense of like, well, you committed to these vows, but yeah, your word is about as flimsy as a fake Japanese sword, which would irritate me little, which means it can break very easily, and you not want to commit to your end when he does, or when she does and you don't. That
Mm.
that means you're both useless to one another. in a sense, and you're just like faking a well, not faking a compatibility. You fail at compatibility in that regards. So I said this before, and I say it again. Norm, back in the day, arranged marriages were formed to for like a building of expanding one's family, domain, territory, bloodlines, communities, all of that. I got all that from watching. Oh, by the way, guys, you guys know I'm a big Japanese head. I got all that from watching olden times of the feudal era up into the current era and things of that nature. And it was done for that exact reason. We're expanding our family and we're making our family strong. Our bloodline will be strong and things of that nature. So that you got to understand that. Like I tell people, I said, I'm not inviting just dummies in my family. Like, like I expect you. If you're, listen, if you're gonna take my daughter in hand in marriage, you better be worthy of it, and you better show me.
Hmm.
So, when fathers like the fathers and brothers and uncles meet that boy, like when they met me, it's you know what time it is. You know what time it is. You know exactly what time it is. They about to see if you can defend yourself, and also they about to see if you really worthy of your daughter. And guess what? It's something I don't mind going through. You wanna know why? Because if I gotta fight, if I gotta fight y'all or just to prove myself, hey bro, I do that. I don't care. If I love it that much, I do that.
No.
So let's get in our final thoughts. Paul, you say you did yours, right? You good? All right. So David, Mariana, Wally, Jay, and Fer. Is it going in that order?
It might be quick on my end because I like the fact that we have both our elder on the panel, both Mr. Bennett and Cofer. They give some solid diamond nuggets because we got to speak what is reality. And shout out to Jay because I like what he's pointing out there because this is something I've been looking at. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I did walk away from arranged marriage on the simple fact that I had an internal issue because one, I didn't have nothing against internal arranged marriage, but I had an issue if a particular person in my family wanted to use that against me in the way of to control what I didn't like. That's why I avoided that for that particular reason. Other than that, if I were to do it over again, I might decide to do that arranged marriage thing from the very beginning because you never know who you'll be aligned up with, and that person could be your strong support system or not. That's sometimes I have overlooked. Other than that, it's a very interesting topic. It's not a topic those simply just walk through. And I shout out to both Wally and Jay because I know it kind of hostile on both ends, but sometimes we need to hash things out. Sometimes we need to be clear with our views and our point because this is not a simple walkthrough topic. It is not. And I'm glad Mr. Bennett poured out. Now it's not supposed to be all work. I'm glad he broke it down as clear as possible. And Coach Fur, I'm thank you very much for the nugget you dropped in as well because if we don't have these elders who break down what really is compared to the people who never been married, have no idea what marriage is, then how are you planning to move forward with that? All I know, this is a great topic. Please listen to the whole conversation. Pick and choose. Leave your comment after the show. If you have any idea or any viewpoint, maybe you could have Coach Fur and Mr. Ben revisit those topic or those views and address it at a later time. Other than that, I appreciate it.
Final thoughts. Um, what I can say. I will say having love, commitment, and to make it work. Um, I mean, I don't have any experience, but I know that I have to appreciate and love myself before I commit myself. But I will say that yeah, marriage is definitely once you marry to that person is as it will be as one, not as two, because you have to be as as a one unit. Um, all I could say that you could it's more like you either go with either you join with the ride or you had to make sacrifices once you commit with somebody. But other than that, I mean, I will, study it, review this when I, review this this stream. It's something that everybody, like, for me, I need to study this for my sake. This is more like to appreciate, for those who are, been in a relationship for a very long time or a committed marriage. But this is something I, uh you know if it happens, if it not, so be it. But that's my my final thoughts.
Wally? I guess not. Go ahead, Jay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. But first of all, shout out to everybody on the panel. Shout out to my man Wally. I got lots of love for him. Things of that nature. Um, got love for Sparta. Got Like I said, I got love for the lady on the panel. I got love for Mr. Bennett, Coach Ferg, CBN. Um, and I'll say this: I think maybe I got like an old soul in like a young body, and I just I just believe that there, there's always a difference between two people, but that difference is what makes them a perfect unity. I should say perfect, but a good match, and they can conquer through any trial or tribulation. Like I said, as long as they know what their roles are, what they're good at, and what they're not good at, and be able to rely on one another. But with that being said, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to everybody here, and brothers. I can't say much to the ladies, but to the brothers, be sure to humble yourself every once in a while to hear what the OGs got to say because they be sparing facts, my man. And Coach Ferg and Mr. Bennett sent me some knowledge just today. That's gonna linger in my head for a few days. So you know, brothers, you take the time to do that, all right? Because like I said, you can't you can't just listen to yourself in your own box. You got to be able to listen to the input of others who've possibly been on the path that you've been on before you were born. So do that. With that being said, y'all have a great night, and man, eat something nice.
Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, man. Salute to my high school senior picture, man. Sorry, man.
Does you see? I thought it was your
Yeah.
prom picture, man.
No, man. Senior. Listen, for our graduation, we had to wear tuxedos, man. We ain't wear a cap and gown. It's crazy,
Oh,
but
that's
yeah.
what's up.
But no, man. Listen, man. Sparty, you do it every time, man. You make me have to go into, you know what I'm saying, just my I guess my knowledge bank about just trying
You're
to be the
welcome.
best, trying to be the best person in life, man. You know, I think, when we get on the other side, we think and look back, we hope that we made enough good choices that outweigh the bad choices. And, I think people come out the gate wanting to embrace life before they embrace the understanding of it, and then we look back 35, 40, and we've played a lot of games for the most part. But I think people can leapfrog that time in their life and just be more intentional going forward. And you'll be able to find that wife that you want or that husband that you want. But a lot of it's going to come with discipline, how well you eat, exercise, how well you work. When you go to job, do the best you can, not worried about, what you're going to get out of it, how you treat other people, how just respect people, places, and things, and pray, not just for something, just because you were here, don't, always look to other people to validate you, validate yourself. For every time you're able to wake up and see the sun, that's a validation right there. So, and don't hold grudges. People hurt you, just address it. I think it's probably where that's probably done me some good is that if somebody tried to do something disrespectful to me, I addressed it. And I let them know I might not even talk to you. I'm not saying that I won't talk to you, but we ain't gonna be hanging out like we used to. Fine. I always put myself first when it came to other people. Respect your elders. Respect children. Make sure that people your age, your peer group. You just got to stand up to them and don't let nobody tell you what you can't do. If you want to mate, again, it's probably one of the hardest things a man could do in his life, regardless of what he accomplishes, socially, whether, we want the riches and the big houses and big cars. But one of the hardest things he'll be able to do is find a woman who's willing to go in the long haul. But that doesn't mean you don't give up trying. But you still have to continue to be the best man you can be, whether she comes along early in life or later. So, no, man, it's a good show, man. Good topic as always. Yeah, man, it's built to last. I'm here to last. I got another 25, 30 years, so hopefully my wife got the same. So, I don't know. If you got 25, 30 years, go and find somebody and have the intentional conversation, man.
All right, thank you everybody for coming up. Let's do a quick schedule update and to get the heck out of here. So there will be no anime show. The guys need a little break so they can regroup and come back stronger. On Thursday, the guys are talking about financial tip by age. And on Friday, we're going to have a special edition Operation Hangout with me and David. It will be about the whole incident with Psycho Sid. So I'm looking forward to it. And for Saturday, we're going to have a little fun now. It's going to be cartoons that we forgot, that we left behind. And on the Gray Area, we're going to be having an open panel call-in show. So call in, make sure you guys hear your voices. You always complain. You always complain in the chats, but when the time comes, you never come up. And next week, you get ready for this one, David. You're gonna like this one. Turn your camera on. You're gonna like this one. I see your face when I do this. So, do women protect men? Is that an old school phone you have in your desk? Your mic's off, by the way. You muted. So, except that, yes, David.
Sorry about that. Live call-in show. So make sure you call in Sunday evening on the Gray Area, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're waiting for you.
Know how to mess with football.
Except that, guys, as always, this was the Spartan
Hey.
Extreme Network.
Old school phone, Uncle
I
Vic.
am the Spartan.
Yes, it is.
Oh wow, okay.
As I was saying, I'm the Spartan. He is Black David. She's Mariana. Wally, Mr. President, Jay, Coach. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.